Hi, I'm Jay Goldman, and you are watching Status Update on Butterscotch.com. So we've been taking a look at a lot of Twitter stuff lately, and we're going to drill today into some of the behaviors that sort of emerged organically from the Twitter community and have been adopted by Twitter as official parts of the product. It's actually one of the most interesting product development stories that has happened recently, never mind just in the social media space, but in the world of technology. Twitter came out with a product that was actually quite simple. It was just status updates about what you were doing, and it was really the community that took it over and started to do things in it which have become integral parts of Twitter now. And if you were to join the service now, you would have no idea that they weren't always there. So as an example, the idea of putting an @ symbol in front of somebody's Twitter name in order to direct a message to them is something that emerged organically from people who were using Twitter. It wasn't actually part of the platform originally, and it's now become the way that you specifically mention somebody and draw their attention to it. Another good example is retweeting, which you'll see a lot in your Twitter stream as RT in front of a tweet, and in fact as the new official Twitter format, which doesn't include the RT. Now, retweeting came about because there was people who were saying things in your Twitter stream, and you thought, well, that's really interesting. I'd really like to repeat that to the people who are following me so that they can see it. Maybe it's a link to a really good news story, or a stat, or a funny joke. You can think of it, in fact, as repeating somebody else's joke or story. So if a friend of yours tells you a joke and then you go on and tell some of your other friends it, you're in fact retweeting in real life. So the old school approach to doing this was to put the letters RT for retweet, then the person's Twitter name, and then the original tweet. When Twitter saw that this behavior was there, they said, you know what, this is obviously something that's become really integral to Twitter, and we'd like to make this part of the official experience of using the product. We'd like to do that in a way where the retweeting doesn't take up characters out of the tweet. So one of the challenges here is you've got 140 characters, you want to retweet somebody else's tweet that they've made, and you're now going to have to put the RT and their name in front of it, etc. You're taking up space out of the tweet. So they wanted to do this in a way where that wasn't going to take up space. They also wanted to show the avatar of the original person who made the tweet so that you're actually retweeting from the original person. And they'd also noticed that sometimes a tweet would come out that would get really popular and lots of people would retweet it in a row, and all of those retweets would fill up your stream retweeting something that you'd already seen. So they've invented the official retweet form. Most of the Twitter clients that are out there now, the Twitter website, things like TweetDeck and Twitter on the iPhone or the BlackBerry and stuff, all support the official format of doing it. And when you retweet it, it will just automatically go directly into your stream, and people who are following you will see the original avatar of the person who tweeted it originally. They'll see a little retweet icon. It looks like two arrows kind of interlocked together, and then they'll see your name as the person who retweeted it. One of the things I don't like about that, and the reason that the old format continues to persist, probably with a lot of sort of old-timers who've been on Twitter for a while, is that there's no opportunity for you to put a comment into that. So when you hit that retweet button, it's going straight into your feed, and you're not going to have a chance to give context to your followers as to why you wanted to retweet that. Twitter acknowledged that when they came out with the new format and said that it was something they were hoping to address in a future version of the retweeting functionality. So for now, you're probably going to see a pretty even mix in your stream between people who are retweeting in the new way and people who are retweeting with the RT. One's not necessarily better than the other, so choose the one that works best for you. Retweeting is really simple to do. If you're using the web app and you see a tweet that you want to see, so for example, this tweet that I'm looking at on screen right now from Chris Pirillo talking about Adobe Flash Player 10.1 is now available, you can just hit the retweet button. It'll ask you if you want to retweet to your followers. You can hit yes, and that's now gone out to your followers using the new retweet format. If you want to do the old format on the website, you're going to have to do it manually because they actually don't encourage you to do it. But a lot of the Twitter clients acknowledge that people want to do that. So in TweetDeck, for example, you've actually got a preference setting that allows you to set how you want retweets done. I leave mine on the old school format, but you can leave it on the new one, and then it'll just do it directly when you hit that. So that's it for this week's status update. I'm Jay Goldman. Now before you go, we're part of this awesome contest called howdoyou.com. That's literally howdoyou.com. And if you go there and enter an essay or video, you've got a chance to win 1 of 10 iPads or cash up to $10,000 by telling us a story about how you use the .com. And this is all in celebration of the 25th anniversary of the .com, which you may not in fact know, but that's this year. I actually remember the first time that I heard the term .com referring to a startup company rather than to a website, which kind of in people's minds who were around at the time really brings back 1999 and the whole sort of startup bubble and how crazy it was to be involved in anything like that. And it's sort of interesting to have gone full circle in this industry and come back to the point where I'm working for another .com startup. This time, of course, it's a little bit different. We're not in that bubble and we actually have a business model. You can check us out at ripple.com. But it's sort of cool to be back into the scene of working for a .com startup, having spent so much time kind of trying not to use the term that way, and we've come around to the 25th anniversary, and it's suddenly become a good term to talk about again. It's a good thing to now be back in the Valley and telling people that we work for a .com startup, and people have kind of lost some of that negative connotation that they used to have. So things come full circle. I guess we'll see where the .com is in 25 years from now when we're talking about the 50th anniversary. But in the meantime, don't forget to go to howdoyou.com, submit your essay or video for a chance to win. I'm Jay Goldman. This has been Status Update. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.